So.
Modus operandi.
Yeah.
Wait, is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds Latin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there you go. Let's talk politics now that we talked about Kanye West. We got this story from Vanity Fair. How scared should Democrats be about the midterms? I'll just jump right to the bottom and I'll explain. They say, even if you ignore the eye-popping 32-point swing among independent women, the near Republican lead it shows tracks with other recent polls. Simply put, for some reason, in the past couple of weeks, almost all of the polls have shifted from Democrat to Republican. And now it's looking like if you add that together with the bias in the polls as it is, red wave, red tsunami. So are we excited? Are we secretly laughing because we know that Republicans aren't actually going to do anything if they do win? Where are we at with this?
Yeah. I don't know if excited is the right word, but I'm satisfied with the change in politics. Also, change in geographicals. I've been just watching maps of like countries changing over the years, and like people I think have this idea that borders are stagnant. Borders constantly have changed throughout history, and I think political affiliations, political parties, new ones are created, old ones go defunct. Tulsi Gabbard left the Democratic Party. I think it's inevitable that thing is. I mean, as people wake up and see that the fascist business collusion with the Democratic Party, it becomes kind of apparent that it's not the good guys. Not that the people are bad. I think a lot of the people involved are just involved because they always have been. But you know that system is pretty busted up. Looks like from the outside.
So, is it more than just the women, or is it a full shift?
There's a full shift across the board, but a 32 point. This is one poll, by the way. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just a bad sample size, but among independent females, 32-point swing. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I think that's so telling.
It was plus 14 Democrat, and then a couple weeks later, plus 18 Republican.
Wow.
And I think it might have to do with schools, but I really do think it just kind of comes down to gas prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Biden got caught in a quid pro quo with Saudi Arabia, and then people were just like, I'm sick of it.
Ammon, you're running. What are you seeing on the ground? What are your people telling you about the projections? How are you seeing this political landscape?
Yeah, well, in Idaho, we have this struggle between what we call conservatives and Republicans, because everybody in Idaho is pretty much Republican,
right.
So literally. And so like the deep state, the establishment, well, they're Republican. Well, and the conservatives who want freedom and want the good things of life and want this country to be free, well, they're conservatives, but they're also Republican. And so that's what we're seeing, like kind of this battle of establishment Republicans versus true conservatives. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting. And the mothers have a lot to say about it. They're concerned, and I don't know if this is nationally why this poll is so strong when it comes to women, but they're worried about their children. They're worried about they're worried about the future of their children. That's constantly on their mind. I'm sure they don't like paying the $5 gas either.
Oh yeah.
But I think they have a sense of like, if we don't do something right now, like, if we don't correct this, this is going to get much, much worse. So
there was a poll where they asked people, would you vote for someone who denied the election? And Democrats overwhelmingly said no, and Republicans were kind of split. I think it's funny because the Democrat perspective is Trump, and so they just think they're ragging on Trump. But if it's like, okay, what about Hillary Clinton? She denied the election several times. She still does to this day. And then they're like, oh, well, But I think it's funny because ultimately what the poll found is that no one cares. No one cares about this stuff. They're going to them and saying like January 6th. Even Saturday Night Live was making fun of the January 6th committee. And they called Adam Schiff a villain from the horror movie Smile. And then he was like, we're not even going to listen to what he has to say. He's too spooky. And they just skip over him. I thought that was funny. Just ragging on the guy. But hey, there you go. The January 6th stuff is so unappealing that Saturday Night Live thought making fun of it would actually do well for them, and it did. Although they did make a joke that you're either a Republican who's not watching it or a Democrat who's nodding so much your head's falling off. But then they mock Chuck Schumer mercilessly and Nancy Pelosi, so it is what it is. But I think the reality that they know but won't let go. Nobody who's voting is voting because of this. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, maybe a handful of people are like, we better save our democracy. But I guarantee you walk down the street and you say, who are you voting for? They're going to say, Republican. Why? Gas. Okay, that's it. End of story. Inflation.
Economics is always seems to be the number one reason why power shifts from one party to the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
How's your race going particularly? Like, who are you running against? What's the biggest difference between you and your competitor?
So I'm running against the Republican incumbent, Brad Little, and he's the establishment guy there, the deep state, if you will, and
Kind of a rhino.
yeah, he's absolutely a rhino.
Yeah.
Idaho was we look at Idaho, and I think the rest of the country looks at Idaho and says, hey, they're really conservative. They're kind of, more far right.
Yeah.
However, Idaho was the first state to arrest pastors for having church outside during COVID.
Wow.
And we were the first state to arrest a mother for taking her kids to the park.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all done under Governor Little's lockdown orders. And so, the difference is, completely different. I don't believe the way he believes. I don't believe that that's the purpose of government. I believe the purpose of government is to protect people's rights, not to infringe upon them. And
this is Idaho.
yeah, this is Idaho.
You got people in Oregon who want to leave Oregon and join Idaho.
Yeah, they're
Barking up the
the
road.
highways are clear full of people coming into Idaho. It's the fastest growing state
Oh, yeah,
in
but
the country.
yeah, but you know who it is?
Tell me.
Well, we're hearing a lot that wealthy people are buying up these wealthy, ranches and estates.
Yep.
Yeah,
Prices are insane.
That's happening,
I think
too.
they're called Californians.
Yeah.
Californians.
And I think there's also a lot of elitists buying like doomsday properties and farming properties.
absolutely.
And there's also one guy who loves to, force down fake meat down everyone's throat, who's also buying up a lot of property everywhere else.
Who?
What's his
Yeah,
name?
it starts with a B.
Friend of
or
yours?
something like that.
Friend of yours.
It's like he represents closing of
Like
something.
closing of gates or something?
Something like that, yeah.
I wonder who that is.
So can we not say that then on this show?
No,
then?
it's Bill
Oh,
Gates.
Bill Gates is a scumbag.
Full
There you go.
disclosure. Is he? I don't know him. I'm going to stop insulting people's person and start insulting the things they do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because I have a feeling I'm going to meet these people one day.
When Bill Gates was being interviewed about being on Epstein's plane and then just went, well, he's dead now anyway.
Yeah, that's
I was like, wow, what a bad guy.
Kinda talented.
Someone lost their life here. You know what I mean? Like, Bill, come on. He was your friend, Bill.
I mean, you were saying
Bill
there
was
was
friends
They were
with him.
very close to the point where he even divorced his wife because of their close friendship together.
You were saying
Jeez, dude.
you were mentioning
That was your
earlier-
buddy, man. That was your best friend. And if
just
someone's going to treat their best friend like that, imagine how they're going to treat you.
I just want to point out real quick that we did the story about how Bill Gates has organizations that track mentions of him, in media. So there you go, Bill. Anyway, you were saying.
What's up, Billy?
up, man?
You were mentioning earlier a difference between conservatives and Republicans,
Yeah.
especially in Idaho. Do you find that as conservatives that people tend more toward libertarianism, but that they don't adopt the Libertarian Party because it's too small or something?
I don't think that it's too small. I think the issue ultimately is kind of on abortion. Like they won't go to the libertarian side because of abortion and also because of kind of law enforcement, really. Like they just love law enforcement no matter what they do. And this would be the establishment and the conservatives. But people are waking up that there's good law enforcement, there's bad, and it can be very dangerous. And so I would say if there was two issues, it would be that. It would be, libertarian view on abortion, and then also just law enforcement and their role and who they are and what they do.
So if you would win the race, what's the first few things you would do? What's your policies that you're running on? How would you change Idaho?
So one is abortion. I mean, we have this opportunity. I am absolutely for protecting life. I believe that life begins at conception. And so I think that we have to protect that life. So number one, or at least that's the first thing I will do. And Roe versus Wade being overturned pushed it back onto the states, so it makes it a lot easier for me to do that.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.